There's a lot of funny stories about John. Let me try to think of a funny story. Well, it's just a circumstance. It's not tied to one specific moment, but it's a pattern of behavior of John's that sometimes it's not really funny. Sometimes it makes me want to pull my hair out.
Brad and Diana Wander. I think we go back about 8 to 10 years.
Probably.
Yeah.
Fantastic, as always.
As always.
Yeah.
John throws the best soirees.
He does.
He does.
And put everything exactly as it was. To see that energy, the space, the creation. Because that is really the art, I think, is when all that is happening and we have the residue, the art, which I think is beautiful and we can all appreciate.
To other people who are not in business with him, they would see it as being funny. But we work so hard when we produce a major event, do an open studio.
I think put my name down on one of the silent auction items. So.
All right.
What does it matter at the end of the day when you're 90 years old if you haven't enjoyed everything you've done? It doesn't matter how many great paintings you have or how many collections you're in or the museums you're in.
The funny thing is, John used to be the worst person at last-minute details of the party.
And this is Janet Franklin.
And are you a collector of John Palmer's work?
Absolutely.
How much money you have or your car. But it's about how your day-to-day, if you're enjoying what you do.
Really, when people are driving, or coming up the driveway, he's still blowing the driveway or still hanging the painting. Fortunately, he's not still painting the paintings.
To be a collector of John Palmer's work.
It's inspirational to us. There's something that speaks to us a lot of times.
It was beautiful to see all the chaos, the bottles of champagne or the boxes of champagne came in and all his brushes and all his residue of creation.
Now he has improved because we've had to set some boundaries on this.
I could see my studio one day saved like that, hopefully, if somebody wanted to do it. But I think that's the magic.
It was always this thing where if it wasn't one thing, I got him to stay off the yard work. Then he'd switch to doing the floral arrangements inside and had to have 5 new ones of those.
The one I'm going to buy next is my favorite.
We now have these rules where we try to at least 1 hour be totally done.
But I can't find it in there. I hope he hasn't sold it.
What normally helps us with that is to have a glass of champagne.
Stacy Robinson Newton.
And for how long have you been collecting John Palmer?
About a year and a half now. We went to middle school and high school together, so we're also friends.
I now have funny memories about that. When it's the heat of the moment, it wasn't that funny.
Dog Charm, which we adopted 4 years ago, she was in the pet portrait book that he did last year for Jane and Company.
These guys that support us and collect John's art, they become our friends. In fact, they become our family. Julio has known John way longer than I have.
Well, my name is Julio Montaño. I've been here in Houston for 22 years now. I started buying John's pieces, a good 12, 14 years ago. As always, just thinking, well, this is nice. I think I'll have this for the house. And then that seemed to be happening practically every year, and sometimes a couple of times a year. So
he has collected John's art from the JR's days.
Yeah, you eventually end up being somebody that's considered a collector.
I thought this was going to be like a funny part, but when I think of these people individually, I get a little emotional.
It's difficult to say favorite pieces because one of the things that I like about John is that he experiments and transitions between styles.
He comes to everything, okay? He doesn't buy something every time, and we don't care, I think collectors should understand that.
Some of my more recent ones are the ones that I enjoy the most. There is one from his landscape series.
We have to have people buy things to survive, but we also just like to see your face and show up.
Took my breath away when I saw it. This was when he was over in Winter Street.
He's always there, and he's a friendly face. I hope he knows how much that means to us.
Yes. So with the evolution of it, the beautiful part of it is it's becoming more intimate with each member of the First Class Club.
Okay, I forgot. Just like Julio, the Hills are inaugural members of John's First Class Club.
I'm Scott Hill.
I'm Yvette Hill.
And we are longtime collectors of John's work. We followed him at art shows around town for a good while during his early career. And we had a child that was going to school here at Harvard Elementary in the Heights, and as part of his kindergarten class's fundraiser, John had donated a cocktail party. I wasn't able to attend because our son was sick that night, but Yvette actually went, and so she stood over it like
I stalked it.
mother hawk, and we won the bid.
One of the most stylish couples I've ever.
We didn't make our first purchase that night, but that's when we found our first piece that we wanted to buy. And
they are special collectors in that regard because they are a part of that club that helps send John all over the world.
So what was really interesting about that is we had told John how much we love this one particular piece. I mean, I walked in and it was just...
They are great parents. I mean, the children are like little geniuses.
So after talking to John, I said, you know, how much I loved it, and he had said that he had taken the piece and put it behind so no one else could
we were
look
looking
at.
for the piece. We were asking him,
That's right.
where's the big piece that we like?
Extremely fun. I mean, these are the guys that you want to take to dinner or go out with. So
because it was a really interesting, had a lot of background and history about them moving over here, leaving his other studio and the architecture, and he knew that how much we really loved it. And so he actually had put it away in case we decided to get it. And we did.
When you walk into our entryway, there's a large wall, and this large piece is the first thing that people see when they walk into our home.
Where I'm able to think through more components of that work on paper that I do for them there, that makes it even more meaningful. And so they really know I've thought about them.
I have been quite close with Herb over this past year.
I understand that you are longtime collectors of John's work. Can you tell us who you are and a little bit about your favorite pieces?
I'm Vicki Pasternak. I have to say my favorite piece is our most recent piece, which is called Ada. And it was really my coercion that got us to get this last piece. It's beautiful, just beautiful.
Explain us how the coercion works.
He was a contestant in John's the John Ross Palmer Jeopardy game.
I'm Herb Pasternak. My favorite piece, I think, is a drip painting that John did that we had noticed in his old gallery. It was on the wall, and it literally jumped off.
And Herb, I love him to death. He's a real competitor.
I said, John, this is just the most incredible piece of artwork I've ever seen. And, well, Herb, it's going to the Chicago Museum of Art and blah, blah, blah. And I didn't think anything of it. It was gone. So
took it extremely seriously, studied very hard.
We came to another gallery evening, and lo and behold, there was the painting again. And
if I was a contestant in that game, I would try to win, which Herb is like that.
I asked John, what's it doing here? I thought it was supposed to be in Chicago. Oh, it fell through.
He really admires John and has just really told us how impressed he is with the growth of his career.
Right there, had to have it. It was magnificent.
And the man is as smart as a whip, you know, and so whenever he says, I have had an idea, and John and I sit down and start taking notes. And
so that's my favorite piece, along with one of his very early pieces called The Composer.
He wants us to succeed.
The first time we had the First Class Club, it was more of a generic piece, and so it's just getting more fine-tuned, better, a very special organization to be a part of.